It is almost 11 p.m. It's the night before Monday right now, so I will be waking up at 5 in the morning tomorrow. I'm like half excited just because it's like a new routine. I want to see like what it's like, but also I'm kind of dreading it, even though like no one is forcing me to do this. I'm literally doing this out of my own free will. But it is kind of late and I should probably be going to sleep. So I'm gonna set my alarm, I'm gonna go to sleep, and then I will see you in the morning. Okay, it's lucky like 5:40. I actually fell asleep again until like 5:30. The thing is, like, I don't even mind waking up early. I just don't want to go to school. Like, that's the main reason I don't wake up, I think, because I just don't want to go. My plan is to start by reading some of my book. I'm like 30 pages in right now. The actual beef I have with school uniform is insane, because why do I look 100 times worse than I do just in normal clothes? It's worse when I have my jumper on too. Like, it's so bad. I look terrible. Okay, I have to leave in like 20-30 minutes, so I'm going to do some revision for 2 tests that I maybe have today. I have a feeling both teachers are going to forget and then just like spring the test on us at a completely different time, which would not be ideal. I'm going to do some flashcards and stuff. I'm not going to do like a bunch of revision because it's like 7 in the morning, but I have my Gizmo flashcards. I actually use these for like every single subject. My RE test specifically is on Buddhism, and I don't know a thing about Buddhism because it's like different words and stuff. There's Christianity. Like, I went to a school that was like, it wasn't a Christian school, but they made us do Christian stuff, so I know like the basics of it. Then Buddhism I just don't have a clue about, so I need to go over that again. I'm gonna hope that our teacher actually marks it as well, because sometimes she just sets us the test, makes us do it, and then never marks it. Also, I made this like huge revision sheet for all of the GCSE content, and I have determined that there is more history content than there is science content, which is like a bit insane, because anytime I try to tell people who aren't in history how much content there is in history, it's always like lost on them, but there's truly so much to remember. So if you are choosing your options, just keep in mind history is like, it's not bad. Like, if you enjoy history, it's fine. If you don't want to do a bunch of work and remember a bunch of stuff, don't take it. I take geography and history, which people are always so shocked about when I tell them, but geography is way easier. I just have to say it. Geography is so much easier. You cannot convince me otherwise, and it's way easier to learn as well, so keep in mind if you're choosing your options. So I have had a few people ask me about like options and stuff, so it just kind of depends on like what workload you're okay with, because if you enjoy history, it's fine, but if it's just like a filler subject, I would probably reconsider. Anyway, I'm getting kind of off track. I'm gonna do history revision first, and then if I have time I'll do RE, because history is way harder. Okay, it is Tuesday. It's 5:25 currently. I did actually wake up at 5. I didn't go back to sleep for once, but it genuinely takes me like so long to actually like wake up properly, so I was like, I just like needed a second. Plan for this morning is I'm gonna do some editing. I have my laptop. I'll probably like put a video on in the background or something, because I always do. So I'm gonna do that until about like 6:30 maybe, and then I'll start getting ready. Okay, I did actually film this kind of segment like yesterday, but it didn't record for some reason. So I decided I'm gonna do a kind of like Q&A section, because I get a lot of like questions and stuff, and I thought it would be easier to like answer them in a video. Okay, the first one was about like tips for English language and English lit. English language I am completely unhelpful for, because English language is just a subject I can do because I spent like majority of my childhood just reading, because I had like no other hobbies. So I know how like the language works, and like I did a lot of writing when I was younger, so I have genuinely years of practice in writing and reading and whatever, so it just kind of like comes to me. I've always been like okay at English, like I can do it whatever, because I got a 9 somehow in my last mock exam, and the truth is I just didn't revise for it at all, because I don't know how you're even meant to really, but I have had a lot of practice, because I think I started on like a 7 or an 8, but I do have a really good English teacher actually, so I've done a lot of English language practice, so I've kind of just like gotten better at it, I guess. Yeah, I don't really revise for it. My only tip is just like as much practice as you can get is really helpful, because you need to know like how to actually answer the questions and stuff, because there are like specific ways that they like you to answer them, and like specific things that they want you to include. English literature, I have an 8 in this one. Again, I'm not entirely sure what I do, but it works. What I did for my last exam, which I got an 8 on, was I did like an analysis and a summary summary of all the characters. So like I did in spectacles, so I was doing like Eric Burling like in spectacle, and I just did like mind maps and summaries for them and like quotes and stuff. Another thing about quotes is you need to remember like quotes that like not a lot of other people are going to use, because there are like basic quotes for every like text that you study that you can use. The person marking your paper is gonna prefer if you use like, my teacher literally calls them niche quotes, but he is right, like any quote that is less commonly used is generally pretty good, and using any quotes that have like a deeper meaning. So like if you can create like a story from a word, or like you can infer something different from a word, then it's like usually a really good quote to use. The next one I actually get quite often, and it's on how long I study per day. So obviously it does vary depending on like my classes that day, like how much other stuff I have to do, just like how much energy I have, to be honest. But generally it's like 2 to 3 hours a day, which is a lot and is definitely not necessary, but for me that's just what works. That's what I've like always done for the past like 2 years. During my mocks it was like, it ranged between like 3 and 5 hours per day when I had school, because obviously I don't have like a bunch of time after school. But honestly I think it's just like a trial and error kind of thing. Like I kind of found that in year 10, I was like, this is what works for me, like this is what I need to do. But then for some people they might need like more or less. It really depends. So I just kind of like experiment, I guess, especially if you're in like year 9 or 10. I think the most useful thing you can do during those years is to find like revision techniques that work for you, and like habits and timetables and routines that work for you, because then you have like that basis when you go into year 11, when things are like a lot more like stressful, I guess, and you don't really have as much time to like determine what works for you. You just kind of already know. Okay, one was on where I get my CDs from. This is like very specific to one video I had where I was like showing my CDs. They're mostly from this like one music shop that I've been to twice, and I always spend so much money there, it's actually insane. But I also have a few that my parents got me from like charity shops. So I have the Greatest Showman soundtrack on CD. I love that soundtrack. And then I also have Pink and Adele that I found in charity shops. So then some of the more like specific CDs, like newer CDs, are mainly from like actual music shops. I have also been thinking about buying some CDs on Vinted as well, because I always see them for like fairly cheap on Vinted, especially like Taylor Swift ones, because I am basic, I do like Taylor Swift, but her CDs are like quite expensive if you buy them like new, but on Vinted they're not actually that bad. Okay, one question I get a lot is how I studied like before year 10 and 11, like before GCSE content. Okay, I actually have a lot of advice for this, because I used to study a lot in like year 8-9, and I'm gonna be so honest, it did not do me any favors. You don't need most of the content that you learn in year 7-8-9. I would say 80% of the content that I learn in Key Stage 3 I don't need for my GCSEs now, because they literally just fill up 3 years with nothing, and I don't know why. I think this like maybe varies depending on the school, because I know some schools do their like GCSE coursework in year 9, so obviously it doesn't apply to that if you have GCSE coursework a bit earlier. Okay, so I have about half an hour left before I have to leave, so my plan is to try and get through some more of my to-do list. I made it yesterday and I didn't get through a lot of it, so I'm going to try and finish it a bit more. I also might start on English Lit if I have time, because I need to write down like a summary of all the Christmas Carol quotes, because I realized yesterday I actually don't know any of them. Actually, I have English today and I have a feeling it's going to be English Lit, so I'm hoping that he doesn't like ask us a bunch of quotes, because I actually don't know any. It is 6:23 right now. My alarm did go off at 5, and I saw my alarm and I just turned it off, went back to sleep. I don't know, I was so tired, but like I was tired in the way that I'm always tired when I wake up, like it's just a normal kind of tired. But I was like, you know what, I could literally sleep for like another hour. I do not have to do this. So yeah, I did not wake up at 5, but it's still like 20 minutes earlier than I usually wake up, so I guess that's something. I'm gonna start getting ready, because by the time I actually get ready it will be like 6:40 anyway. Okay, it is 6:38 right now. I can't even explain that. I just didn't want to wake up. I think just because I know that I don't have to wake up at 5, like there's no reason for me to wake up at 5. I just don't. Okay, my final thoughts on this entire week. As you can see, I did very much fail it. I did not wake up when I was meant to on at least half of the days because, like I said, I just know that I have to go to school and I don't want to go, so I don't wake up. Overall, do not think this was worth it. There was not really anything I gained from waking up at 5. Like, I could have done all that stuff later on. Like I said, I do not mind waking up early. I do really like waking up early, but 5 is a little early for me. Will I do it again? Absolutely not.